Hi everyone. Today I'm doing a special interview with. If y'all don't know who this bitch is by now.
If y'all don't know who I am, y'all need to come out of that rock you've been living in.
Like, come on. Come on, come on.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah! Spice Girls.
Anyways, the reason for this video today is because it was my birthday recently, and along some birthday wishes, this goatfish right here was lovely enough to post a thing that made me cry. But besides that, someone commented on it and said, "I've always been curious about your story." So, if y'all don't know, goatfish is this way, this direction is also my best friend of many years.
Many years.
We're getting old. Anyway, and we do a live show every other weekend. It's part of hashtag Witchy Weekends, of which Sabbath Social is also part of, and so is Wine and Witchcraft and Double Feature Fridays on Chris Ashburn's channel. You know, we've had plenty of opportunities on Drunken Divinations to tell everybody about our story, but
Yeah, but
we
by that time, we're already too drunk.
it's true. It's true. We're
And there's
drunk.
missing pieces, and
Mhm.
it's not the full story.
Yeah, and I mean, Drunken Divinations episodes can be a few hours long, so rather than try and point people to a Drunken Divinations episode and have them dig for our history, I just figured why not do a video just of this, and we'll we'll do the thing, and then we
Yeah.
can always say, hey, if you're interested in knowing about how we met and how this all came about, go to this video. So that's what this is for. Yes, that's what this is for. Mark, what are you working on? Why don't you tell everybody what
I
you're working on?
am I'm working on the set of resin tarot cards that the people won the time before last of our drunken divinations. You can't tell because obviously the camera isn't on them, but it is a blue base and it's going to have pink glitter with pink swirls in it because our logo, funny enough, is pink and blue.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's that.
It's going to be cute. I already know it's going to be cute.
Thanks.
Of course. Everything you do is cute, bestie.
Well, I wouldn't say that. There's been some mishaps.
Don't say that. Don't say that. In regards to our history, where should we start? The very
I
beginning.
think, like all great stories, we should start at the beginning.
So I was conceived in hell.
In hell. Burn in hell! Burn in
I
hell!
wish you well. In hell.
Burn in hell!
My story, personally, I moved a lot whenever we were younger. And by the time I was in there's a lot of clanking. By the time I was in second grade, that was whenever we moved from Chillicothe to Waverly City Schools.
Oh, we're going to tell everybody where we're actually from. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Might as well.
But I don't live there anymore, thank God. It's fucking awful. But by the time I was in second grade, we had moved to Waverly, and then I started going to school there. Well, first day of school, obviously, you're nervous, scared, kind of excited, all that weird stuff. I remember the teacher was we'll just say Miss H. Miss H.
Okay, yeah, let's just go with that.
Miss H's class, I was in that. No, Miss M. Mrs. H was 4th grade. Mrs. M was my 2nd grade teacher. You had another Miss. Did you have Miss M too?
No, I think we were in different. Yeah, we were in different classes.
Yeah. Well, that's where I first started going to like school in Waverly, was 2nd grade. So there's
that. And we met on the recess yard or whatever you want to call it on the playground.
We met on the yard. It sounds like we were in prison. We met in the yard.
You know, we were in the yard bringing the boys to it.
Shaking people. What did you say about my mom? Fun times. I loved it.
Times, very fun times. And so we met. We clicked
instantly.
Hung out like all the time during recess from there on. So we've been friends for a very long time. And my story, you know, the beginning of my story goes a very similar way, I should say. I guess at this point, should we fast forward to like
6th grade?
6th grade, okay.
So that was a pivotal moment for both of us.
What happened in 6th grade?
That's whenever you first introduced me to Charmed.
Okay.
During lunch.
Okay.
Granted, by that time, Charmed had already probably, it was already out, and I think it was
like 3 seasons in at that point.
Yeah, it was 3 seasons in at that point. And I was like, no, I've never heard of it. And you're like, it's about witches. And I was like, sounds cool. I'll have to watch it.
And y'all know me. Witches were always...
Bitches be witches, or witches be whatever Jack Black says. Not one episode of whatever. So I went home and I watched an episode. And I was like, it's pretty cool.
And then Wicca became a thing. We found out that it was a real thing. And then I started studying the craft behind closed doors. And then I think I brought it to you, and I was totally that gateway drug.
What's the matter with you? Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, I was the pusher, I guess. I was like,
I'm a pusher, Katie. I push people.
Hey, would you like to like do some spells with me and do some things? And
my little gay heart was like, yeah!
Yes!
Because I'm a pusher. I push people. And now I'm going to push you.
So, the history from that point on. It's just...
Once it technically got out that what we were doing, everyone was like, oh my God, what are you doing?
A few times, I think it got out.
Yeah.
In high school, in junior high especially, it was like the classic campy teenage movie where
it was people hiding by their lockers, whispering like this to one another, going, they're witches.
Oh shit, it's the bitches of Eastwick.
What?
Hey, whatever you do, stay away from them.
Why?
Well, you see the one on the right? She's a major slut. I mean, I don't know from experience or anything, but... And the one in the middle, she's got these... Anyway, they're... Nah, never mind.
What?
They're witches.
Witches.
Well, that's what people say.
There was the whole situation where, I was walking down the hallway and people in the lunch line were like saying stuff to me, but then another person cuts in trying to be funny and they're like, be careful, don't make him mad. He'll cast a spell on you. You know, it's the whole thing that kids do.
It's funny for a moment because I was like, you're damn right we will. And Nathan was like, don't say that. I was like, why not?
You know, for me personally, it was kind of like it depended on the person who.
It did depend on the person.
Because there were times where I just didn't care and I just wanted to be left alone, and I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I will curse you. Get the fuck away from me.
Pretty much, yeah.
There were still people, even after high school, that were like telling me, hey, do you remember that time you said you'd cast a spell on me? And I was like, no, but, I don't doubt that happened.
Maybe.
And then they'd be like, but did you ever do it? And I'd be like, I don't know, maybe.
Maybe. You remember when you called me fat? I might have. That is something I would do. I think, what was it, freshman year of high school, whenever we were at the state, or not the state fair, but the county fair? Is that freshman or
Probably.
senior year?
No, it had to be
Sophomore, maybe?
sophomore year, probably, because we were already
Sophomore or junior year, one of the two.
somewhere. Yeah.
We were at our county fair. This is my favorite story that I have with Nathan because it's just it's perfect to an extent.
It's perfect.
Perfect. This is perfect. It is. It literally is. And I want Nathan to tell the story because it's so funny the way he tells it.
Because it dumbfounded me. That's
It
why.
did. It was one of those what the fuck moments.
I was caught so off guard. So
I think all of us were. Well,
I don't know. I'm just like, wow. So we're all at the county fair. We're walking around as teenagers do, being teenagey, you know. And it was me, you, Brianna, and a few other friends. Not all of us even practiced. Point.
I think it was me, you, and Brianna, and like
I'm pretty sure Kelly was a thing.
Kelly, yeah, was like totally into it, practicing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Kelly, I don't think was practicing. I think it was just you, me, and Brianna.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Really. And then we had some other friends that, you know, practiced as well, or at least would gather with us, but I wouldn't say they full-fledged practiced.
They were just observers.
Yeah. They were there for the fun.
Literally.
But at this point, I know it was at least you, me, Brianna, and I think Kelly was with us at the fair, and we were just walking around. And, you know, they have those bleachers that are built real tall and all that nice stuff, the big concrete block ones. And we're walking past. There's not even a show or anything going on. I think we were
there's just people sitting in bleachers, relaxing, getting out of the hot sun.
Right. And as we pass by, there's two older kids from school. I forget their names.
Oh, I know their names.
But we'll just leave those out.
Mm-hmm.
And they stop us. And they're hollering at us. And I think at first I wanted to ignore them and keep walking because I didn't think that they were talking to us.
Right. Brianna was like, no, they're talking to us.
Yeah, Brianna was like, no, they're talking to us. And I'm like, oh, okay, what's up, guys? You know, like, hey, what do you want from us? You know? And you could tell that they were like, I mean, they were on something.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay. Yeah, they were having
a good time.
Lettuce.
They were having a good time. Just saying.
They were, and I'm happy for them that they were having a good time.
But they asked me if I knew a certain person, like specifically asked me
this person's name.
Yeah, they said, hey, do you know so-and-so? And I was like, no. And then Mark proceeds to say, yeah, you do.
Yes, you do. You know him.
And I was like, oh, I do? How do I know him? And Mark proceeds to tell me that he is...
gym teacher, helper.
Yeah, gym helper. That's what it was. A volunteer helper for the gym, for my gym class specifically.
Yeah.
So we had a female assistant and we had a male assistant. And apparently this person was the male assistant in my gym class.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, you didn't even have the same gym class as
No, but I passed him all the time going to choir class, and I remember him and his friends would surround me and hump me.
What did he say?
And at the time, I was like, stop it. But now that I look back at it, I kind of had a crush on all of them. So I was like, don't stop it.
Wow. So that's how you knew who the fuck
it was. They played on the football team, and one of them was the quarterback.
I wish we had that on camera.
Oh, I wish we had that on camera. Never mind.
Mark tells me who this guy is, and I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know him, but I know of him. And
Yeah, you're not best friends. I'm like,
Yeah, nah. In fact, I don't think I've ever spoken to him.
which
So
makes sense.
I guess. I mean, I'm just like, whatever. But anyway, so they proceed to tell me about how he told them that I he told them that I cast a spell on him to shrink his penis. And they were very concerned.
They were concerned more for his well-being than anything else at that point.
But then they asked, did you do that? And if you did, can you do it to us? And I was like,
Bitch, what?
so I was confused. I said, I think I said something along the lines of I may have, or
I might have
I don't remember doing anything. So
something close to that. Yeah.
that's really interesting. And then I just felt so confused and uncomfortable. I just wanted to walk away as soon as possible, which we did, giggling and laughing about it. But like, still to this day, I'm like, why would you feel the need if someone really shrunk your penis? Why would you feel the need to tell your friends, first of all? And second of all, why were they curious if I could do it to them too?
Right. Like now that I think back on it, I really wish we were those type of people that were like, absolutely, we need to see pictures, we need to see all of this.
I wish we were who we are now. Then.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to see the penis first.
I have to see the penis. We need to go out back and I need to see it physically.
Do you have pictures or anything? And then it's like, I'm sure they have pictures.
Oh, absolutely. You know damn well they did on those fucking Motorola Razors. Because I don't think the iPhone was out then. It was the Razor.
No. No, absolutely not.
I know there was plenty of times whenever I would spend the night, especially during the summer. I would spend the night at your house because I loved your house growing up. You had like the perfect. I hated my house. I would not want anyone to come over and spend the night at my house because like everybody else had really cool houses and I didn't.
My house was not cool. My house was old and decrepit and haunted.
Well, I mean, exactly. Cool house. We would stay up like all night and just I don't know, have fun, talk about nothing, do stuff. Like I remember one time we played Just Dance until like 3:00 in the morning. Do you remember that?
That was a thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the moon baby would have to keep the Capricorn up, like
yeah,
because Capricorn couldn't hang.
I couldn't.
It was awful.
It was really bad.
We'd shove candy and soda in your face and be like,
yeah.
Eat this.
Do you remember the time we made astral projection salve?
Yeah, but
and you didn't use it, and you didn't use it because you're like, it's lard, and I was like, I don't know what that means, but I want to use it.
Yeah. I do.
Like, okay.
And I also was like, yeah, I just don't want to astral project. I was like, no.
But it was mainly because of the lard.
Yeah.
And
now that I'm an adult and I've already had like, you know, the main ingredient, like I kind of want to make more.
Yeah, I know, right? It's fun.
Oh, there was the time that we did the far memory spell from one of Scott Cunningham's books.
Oh, yes, bitch.
and we got like a little bit more emotions than what we could chew, and we were like, whoa. So basically the spell is you like all you need is a mirror and a
A
candle.
mirror and a candle.
Yeah. I think we like blessed the mirror before.
We did. Mm-hmm.
And we basically, so you put the, and I forget what book it's in.
I think it's in it's not in Earth Magic. It's in
It's either Earth Power or Earth Fire, Water, Air.
I have both of those books, but I don't have them like in front of me right now.
Yeah, they're on my shelf, but I don't feel like getting up. Anyway, we were doing the spell, and basically you sit in front of the mirror and you hold the candle kind of off center, so that way you can see the reflection, but not.
Or you sit it down on the table if you're in front of a table. You don't have to hold it, but yeah.
Yeah. And then you say some words while you stare at your reflection in the dark.
Do you say words or do you just stare at your reflection? Because I don't remember the words.
You say words. There's words that you say. I'm pretty sure. Or we said words. I know.
I think we made up our own, to be honest.
Mm.
It was like spirit from another life. Something. I remember that was the first line of it.
It's in my book, my big book. So
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that sometime. But
oh my god, send me the picture of it.
I totally will. But it's in there. And so we we did the thing, you know, you have to stare at your reflection in the eyes, and then you see this weird like thing happen that like makes you see yourself as you were in a past life. Very, very interesting, but it was spooky, but like fun. And
it was like playing Bloody Mary, but it was a witch.
Yeah, and it wasn't as like, oh, is something going to come out of the mirror and snatch us? Even though, yeah, a lot of us were like, maybe something will come out of the mirror and snatch us. I even wrote like a short story about it.
I think so, yeah.
And it was put in our school lit magazine.
Yep.
And I had the principal stopping me and telling me how good of a story it was. And I was just like, thanks. It happened.
Literally, based on true events.
So there was that. And then what else? We stayed up a lot and did a lot of spirit seeking. Should we tell the story about Elizabeth's grave since we're here?
Might as well.
So Mark, you can start this one. You can tell the majority of this one.
Oh god,
no. Do it.
Let me go get a lighter. Let me go get a lighter so I can pop these air bubbles in this.
Okay, and I'll describe Elizabeth's grave. So every town has their haunted spots, and you know, I think every state has a town that has a
haunted cemetery.
A haunted cemetery, or like a Crybaby's tunnel or a Crybaby's bridge or something of that. So we would explore these certain areas, you know, as teenagers do. We were teenagers exploring, but we were teenagers who also practiced witchcraft, who did exploring.
So we were extra dangerous.
So we were extra
we were just extra.
We were just extra. Yeah, just extra. So Mark tells me about Elizabeth's grave.
Now, personally, I didn't know where it was at, so I had to call my cousin, who at the time lived in Tennessee. And I was like, hey, Jess, do you know where this place is called Elizabeth's grave? And she's like, yeah, it's right by where, you know, you go this and you go this, and then it's this place. I was like, cool, okay, cool. So I put the directions in, or no. I mean, we were by it already, and I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't know where the turnoff was, because it's like a turnoff. It's like on the side road. So I was like, okay, cool. So then I got the directions to where it actually was, and I was like, cool. We'll go there. We'll scope it out during the daytime, and then we'll come back, because I had to go get my boyfriend at the time. and you had to get your sister.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, cool. We'll scope it out in the daytime, and we'll see if it's worth it.
These poor people, like we don't
It's not just me and him. We drag other people.
We never just suffered on our own. We always drug other people into
exactly. And I'm at peace with that. God. So okay, we go there, we get out of the car, and immediately I'm like, ooh. I don't like it. I don't like it.
This was in the daytime though.
I know, I still didn't like it.
Yeah. And it's like sunny, it's a sunshiny, summery day.
Was it a bright sunshiny afternoon? It was awful and heartbreaking. It was scary. So, you don't know, okay? You weren't there. You know you were there.
If you guys are curious about it, just Google Elizabeth's grave, Chillicothe, Ohio. You'll find it. You'll find stories about it. I think there used to be videos on YouTube about it. But yeah. So we go there. We go there during the daytime. And Mark's like, telling me about some experiences that he had with his sister there because he had been there. He just didn't know how to get back. Right? Am I understanding that right?
Yeah.
So we get there. We get out of the car. It's a bright, sunshiny day. Aside from a few trees in the graveyard, it's
I have to say, the kind of car I was driving.
Yes, this is important.
Was a 2002 Ford Taurus.
Green Ford Taurus.
Green Ford Taurus. I'm not talking like a good green. Like it was
like a forest green.
Yeah, it was not the color green that I would prefer.
Mm-hmm. So we get out of the car. It's pretty much a field, aside from the few trees and, of course, the gravestones that are there. And he's telling me a little bit about the story as we're walking along. I forget what did she hang herself? I think there's a few versions.
There are.
One, I think, is that she hung herself. Another is that she was hung by the village, the town. Yeah. For various reasons. Some people say that she was accused of witchcraft. Some people say other things, but like heartbreak and she hung herself or what have you. So, needless to say, she has a gravestone that is said to, if you move it from her actual grave spot, then she will actually move it back by the next day.
Yep.
So, as we're exploring the area, there's some very, very, very old grave markers, and we get to the back left. So the whole area is kind of like squared off in the trees, right?
It is like it's like a forest opening. It's trees, and then in the back it's trees. So it's like a open box of trees, literally. Yes. It's like it's a big field, pretty much, with gravestones.
Yeah, and a few other sporadic trees.
And a few other things, yes.
But we go to the back left corner, and there is what looks to be like a kind of like a natural trail starting there. Mm-hmm. But there's a pile, like a huge pile of broken gravestones on it. So as we're back there just looking at the gravestones, we find one with the name Elizabeth on it, and we're like, ooh, so I'm like touching it. Yeah, I'm like touching it and like trying to get like feels off of it because I'm just like seeing what I can feel, whatever, and just exploring and having a good time. And then, mind you, this is in the middle of the summer day. We start hearing footsteps in the woods. And it's not like footsteps like you would hear from a deer where they're very slow. And then also deer.
No, it's footsteps.
It's footsteps, like people, like two-legged footsteps, very heavy. We can clearly hear it. And I wanted to see what it was. And Mark was not having it. Mark was like, no.
No, I was like, you know what? You can go die on your own. I'm not.
Mark was like, no, I'm not doing this. He said, what if we get in trouble? And I was like, okay, point taken, but also, what if there's just a trail back there, you know? So I'm like trying to call out to it, like, hello, is someone there? Hello? And nobody's answering back. And then at this point, Mark gets freaked out because I'm trying to talk to it. And he like leaves me.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to stay here by myself. I know better than that shit. So I followed him and I'm like, let's just see what it is. It's probably just an animal. And he's like, no, we'll come back later. So I'm like, okay. So we leave.
I'm driving, obviously. We go. Who do we pick up first, Ricky or your sister?
I don't know.
And then we return that night after sundown.
When we showed up, we were a little nervous. We almost didn't get out because remember there were people there working on like the fence and the tree line.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yep.
But then once we got there, they finished. We got out. We decided to get out of the car and take a walk around, and they finished what they did, and then they left. Before I walked to the back, so I think Mark and Ricky, your boyfriend at the time, I think you guys kind of separated from us.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys went to the right side, and I went with my sister Autumn to the left side again.
Right.
And at this point, I had seen, and also before we returned, we talked to the owner of the shop and temple that we used to regularly visit.
Yeah.
And she gave
it isn't there anymore.
It's not there anymore. But she gave us frankincense oil, bless her.
Yeah.
To protect ourselves. So
She's like, here, take this. You'll need it. It's dangerous to go it alone.
Yeah, basically. Don't go it alone. Take this.
Yeah, and we did.
And we did, and we used it. I remember she's like, all you need to do is put it on your temples. And we were like, okay. But we put it on our temples and our third eye and like our wrists. And like basically.
We put that shit everywhere like it was cologne.
Yeah, we literally bathed in the shit. We were very greasy.
Yep.
But so we separated for whatever reason, and Autumn was with me, and we came across. I had decided I was pulled towards looking at other gravestones, and I felt like there were, like a lot of people just like watching us,
and not like physical people.
No, not like physical people, but I just felt like a lot of people were watching us. Well, I was pulled towards this group of gravestones that all looked the same, and they were in a row. And as I looked at them, I realized they were children, and they were all related, and they all died within like a couple years of each other. And I instantly felt like they were there and they were around us, and like almost like they were like playing hide and go seek. And I definitely feel like that's, at the time, I felt like that's where I was getting the, oh, we're being watched sort of feelings. And I guess in a hard way to explain it, I knew they were like jumping from tree to tree and poking their heads out from behind the trees, and they were just having a good old time.
What's that urban legend of things that are they called hide behinds?
Yeah. And that is a thing.
It is. It is.
I experienced those as a very young child.
Really?
Oh, yes.
You didn't think that's what that was whenever we were at Elizabeth's grave? Like they were like legit children, they weren't hide behinds?
So no, they were definitely children.
Okay.
That I know. But I will say I experienced what some people would call hide behinds. But I think there's a lot to hide behinds.
If you don't know what hide behinds are, Nathan, what are hide behinds?
So if I remember correctly, they're like a and actually
they're like, I don't want to say they're forest spirits, but they're things that are, I don't know if they're mainly in the woods or not, but anytime that I've heard about them, they are in the woods. and they are the things that peek out behind trees and then hide, and then they're in a different tree and peek out behind and hide. Like they get closer, I think.
I always thought of them as being fae.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, I can see that.
After I grew up and read about fae and learned some things about them, I was like, that's like that. It's a very similar vibe.
Yeah.
You know? But these were children. But as a young kid, I used to see things hide behind the trees like that.
Lucky.
And when after 9/11, I was terrified to go outside because I convinced myself that they were terrorists.
I did not know that.
Yep, so I didn't go outside for the longest time because where I lived before the house that you had went to was a trailer in the middle of the woods, literally in the middle of the woods. Like all sides of us. Actually, no. 3 out of 4 sides of us was woods. The front of us was the road, but then across the street from that there was a cow pasture. So, I mean, but yeah, they used to dart behind all the trees. I'd see them, and yeah, it was a whole thing. But anyway, back to Elizabeth's grave. So I was, telling Autumn about the children and everything else. I think I left some coins for them because that's all I came prepared with. Then we start hearing a thumping noise, like somebody's picking up a rock, like a heavy rock, and lifting it up and like dropping it on another rock. And it's like
it's rhythmic.
It's rhythmic, like it's keeping the same time, like it's a pattern. And so at this point, I think we came back together, and I was telling you guys, like, do you guys hear that? Or maybe somebody else pointed it out. I don't know, but we were all hearing it, correct?
Yes.
We were all.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And at first, I convinced everybody to come with me to see what it was, because at first it sounded like it was coming from the far right side of the graveyard. So we start walking towards it or whatever, and Autumn's hanging on to me. Your boyfriend's
hanging on to you, and Ricky's hanging on to my back.
Yeah, everybody's just like, I'm in front trying to explore what the source of this sound is. And nobody else has any real interest in finding out what the fuck's going on. They just want to get the fuck out. But I'm like, no, you guys, what if it's... I remember, like, coming up with this scenario, like...
Within his head, mind you. He's like, what if it's somebody that's hurt and they're injured? And I'm like, let them die!
I was like...
that motherfucker die!
What if
but what if they're injured? I don't care.
What if somebody was hiking, and what if they fell, and what if when they fell, they, like, hit their head or hit their jaw, and like their jaw's broken and they can't speak, so their only way to communicate is rocks. Yeah, Mark's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
He's like, what are we gonna do? Go back there and fall and die ourselves or get eaten or whatever? And I'm like, okay, whatever. Let's just see if it really wants us to leave. So I said, okay, do you want us to go, like, really loud? And all of a sudden you hear that rhythmic break.
It got faster.
It gets faster. It instantly goes boom, 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 like in it came from several different directions at that point. And at that point I was like, okay, I can't argue anymore. Let's go. You all run.
Yep.
Run back.
I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Y'all run. You leave me. You yell behind. I'm like, you guys are leaving me. And you guys are like, well, come on, let's go run. And I'm like, I'm not running, because if I run, I'll fall. There was a ditch, mind you guys. There was a ditch that ran the whole length of the road in front of this graveyard. Right?
Yeah.
And it's dark. So I'm thinking, if I run, I'm not going to see this ditch coming, and my fat ass is going to fall in it. So I walked calmly as I could. I walked. They're all in the car by the time I get there. my sister and I were get in the back seat, right?
Yep.
And do you want to go ahead and tell
So,
this part, a little bit of this part? So
as Nathan and Autumn get in the car, I start the car up.
At first, it didn't start, right?
Yeah, okay. At first, it didn't start. Yeah, yeah. I've been getting ahead of myself. At first, it didn't start, and I'm like, "Oh my god, we're gonna die!" I immediately went into panic mode. Legit, my words were, "We are going to die in the middle of fucking nowhere."
Yeah, he kept saying that, and I was like,
Shut
calm
up! No,
down.
we're not.
I
No,
was like,
we're
just
not. He
calm
said.
down. He's like, the car won't start, Nathan. The car won't start. And I'm like, it's fine. You're just scared. Take a deep breath and try again. So you did.
So I did, and I get the car started, and the next thing I know is my entire car shakes. Like, it felt as if someone put their hands on the side of my car and pushed as hard as they could, and it was
Very
enough to
hard.
shake the entire car. And at that time, I said, "Fuck this! I'm out." Bye. I put the pedal to the metal,
Literally.
literally.
And keep in mind,
mind you, this road to get to Elizabeth's grave is on dirt gravel.
yeah, it's not a very pretty road.
It's not. It's horrid.
There were so many large potholes, and we shouldn't potholes as being nice. It's more like craters.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly like craters.
And I just remember when we had first driven in, that night we were going
like 10 miles an hour.
Very slow.
That's pushing it. 10 miles an hour is pushing it. It really is.
It was dark and you couldn't see the craters.
Right. So on the way out of there, I did mainly like 60 because I was not having it. Not having it.
And we skidded over a lot of those craters. That poor car.
I mean, it held up for a good while afterwards, and then I sold it. But like,
I mean, the real MVP is that
car.
I agree. So yeah, that was a fun time, and I think we had returned once or twice after.
We did,
but we didn't.
And each time, I apologized for the way I acted.
So yeah, just lots of fun things like that is in my arts history. Literally fun things like that. And then I guess if we want to talk a little bit about the history of Drunken Divs, Mark had known I was on YouTube. I'd been on YouTube for
quite a while,
handful of years. I don't know why I never invited you onto my channel before. I guess just because I started YouTube after we were adults, and part of me was like, I don't want anybody to know. But then part of me was also like, no one else will probably be interested in coming on and talking about stuff, I guess. I don't know.
So you're saying I was a last resort?
No, I'm saying I felt like you wouldn't enjoy it, I guess. I don't know. Right. I felt like, ew, they're not going to want to be on my channel for anything.
How did even the concept of us doing Drunken Divinations come up? I don't even remember.
So I had the idea when Anthony and I were in Ohio, living in the middle of nowhere again. I had the idea that. So I actually saw some other videos with a similar concept. Excuse me, of like drinking and reading cards, which if anybody who watches this has not caught an episode of Drunken Divinations, I highly suggest it. It's a lot of fun for both Mark and I, and for usually our guests and for the viewers. But basically what we do is we start out pretty much sober, pretty much. Sometimes we pregame. But we start out pretty much sober, and it's usually about 2 to 3 hours, depending. We just take live questions from a live chat,
Mhm.
a live audience that's watching us, and we read cards, and we sip on some
Tarot cards. Tarot cards.
Yes, tarot cards.
Not playing cards. Tarot cards.
Right. We sip on some, adult beverages while we read, and we give the viewers the opportunity to send us tips.
Mhm.
And each time we get a tip, we take a shot so we can
Yeah.
get tipsy or
Tipsier.
faster. Yeah. Because we find that the more tipsy we get, the more fun everybody has. So, yeah. It's not really anything. Sometimes
It's
we get
nothing serious.
Well, sometimes we get a little bit serial, but it's not meant to be serial. It's just meant to be something fun and, enjoy. Just, an unwind time, basically, for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the idea again while I was in Ohio and watching YouTube when I could, because I didn't have internet or phone service or cable, anything like that. And I had seen a few videos on YouTube with a similar idea, but they would take questions from like an Instagram post or like Instagram DMs or whatever, and every so often they would get together with friends or whatever and drink and do these things. So I thought, well, that's a really good idea, but rather than just doing it random, because that's what they would do, they would just wait until so many questions accumulated and then they would do those things. But rather than do it like that, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we did a live and, somehow made it all in real time or whatever. So the idea came across, but I hadn't acted on it for about a year because I also knew exactly who I would ask to do it with me. I knew it would be Mark. I was like, it's definitely going to be Mark. So
Me?
me,
Jesus?
it's you, bitch. When Anthony and I moved back to Florida, a few months went by. Florida. A few months went by, and I all of a sudden thought of the idea again, and I was like, okay, I have to figure this out. We need to figure out this tip system because I can't afford alcohol all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I still can't afford alcohol all the time. The tips, that's what the tips do. They help us pay for the alcohol.
Exactly.
So I came up with a system using Cash App. And then literally that day, it was a weekend. It was a Saturday. And I sent Mark a text and I said, hey, I have this idea for a live show on my YouTube channel. Would you be interested in doing it? And
immediately I said, fuck yeah.
He said, fuck yeah.
Thus, the Powerpuff Girls were born.
And then I said, okay, well, when do you want to do it? And he was like, I don't know, whenever. And I was like, are you free now? And he said, yeah.
Yep.
So I think I posted about it on all my social media and, to kind of get a little bit of a word out. And then we got onto StreamYard, started a StreamYard, and I, told him how it was all going to work. That was it. We did.
And the rest is literally history.
Literally, and we've been doing it for a year since. So
literally, has been a year.
Yeah. So that's how Drunken Divinations started. And you can still go on the channel and go under playlists to the Drunken Divinations playlist, and you can go back all the way to that first episode.
And it's me sitting on the floor in front of my couch getting drunk. Us getting drunk.
Yes.
And it was a great time. Still is a great time.
It
I've met
is.
so many wonderful people because of you, because of Drunken Divinations. Like it literally, like it's been wonderful.
Why didn't I pull you on the channel sooner? Jeez.
Yeah, I don't fucking know what that was about, bitch.
I don't know either, but fuck me, I guess.
Fuck my dad, right?
And that's our story. That's really how it
And
went
it's
down.
still being wrote.
Yeah, literally.
It's still alive as of now.
The never-ending story.
Ooh, that movie made me cry.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
I thought you were gonna start singing the Jurassic song for a second. I was like, oh.
No. All right, bitches. Well, that's our story. And if anybody has any questions or
For
ideas,
me, for us, for we.
yeah, let us know. Put it in the comments. Do you have any close besties?
That you wish were like besties like us.
Because ain't
Wish
nobody's
your best friend relationship was like us because
ain't
there's a few people.
ain't nobody's besties like us besties.
That's true.